Hello, NFT land. I'm Creatorius Rex. We're back again with a founder story, and I'm really excited to have with me Ray from Nice Fun Zombies. We got to know each other in the Bored Ape Yacht Club Discord a couple weeks ago, maybe it was a week ago. We were chatting about his project, and I said, "Hey, this would be great. I think a lot of people would be interested in your story." So, Ray, welcome to the Niftorious Show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, C-Rex, and hello to all of the viewers.
All right. So, why don't we start with the background? So, maybe we should start with, do you want to say what Nice Fun Zombies is, or do you want to talk about the origin story here, like how the idea came to you?
Sure, no, I'll start with what it is. It's a NFT, generative NFT project. And essentially our goal is to create a world where, or an experience where users can craft and adapt their NFT experience with us. The origin of that thinking is that, there's many different types of people who are in the NFT world in different knowledge levels and just different interest levels as well. So some people might want to be more active and be on Discord every single day and in your channel. Other people might just want to buy your item and then leave it, set it aside, and maybe they're juggling 20 different projects that they're looking at. So everyone comes with different perspectives. So we wanted to create a project where the user or the holder essentially gets to choose what kind of path that they want and still get to dictate, have a little bit of control of what sort of airdrops and prizes and rewards that they are able to get. So the way we do that is using the zombie theme. A core part of what we do is in the future, we will release locations. These locations essentially give an A/B decision to the user. Do I want to go here or here? And based on that, that changes what your experience will look like. So it's a lot of focus on game theory. I won't lie, there's some inspiration from Punk's comics, which is one of the most successful NFT projects out there. We're building a lot of different choice paths so that people will really decide and have to think about their decisions and how it affects them and also the rest of the community to some extent. So we're saying our path is every decision matters as an overall theme. We think that's a unique idea where people can really engage in a different way with the project.
Got it. Okay. So you started with the utility, sort of talking about this. So it's this interactive experience, which I think is really interesting. I do want to go into that a little bit more, but why don't we start by talking about the art? Because that's the first thing that usually happens. And then maybe we'll go into a little bit more about the game and then sort of how you got to where you are right now. So why did you choose zombies? Why was that the topic? Was it because there weren't a lot of zombies out there when you're starting to think about this? Was it something else?
It was actually strategic in the how we were thinking that, because we were trying to think of, actually the core idea of this is really the locations themselves. So we were trying to think of, where do locations matter in a storyline? And I think I was going through a period where we were watching a lot of zombie movies and shows. And when we were brainstorming, it was kind of easy to think like, hey, in the movies and shows, like the excuse me, the mall, the school, the hospital, those are like scenes that take place in the zombie world. And it felt like it was a very easy thing to showcase, which is like we can develop these locations and they're all pretty unique and they all offer different things, and it all exists within kind of a zombie universe to some extent. So I would say the idea of the locations is what sparked the zombie theme overall. We also think that like what we're trying to do is also educate a lot of people on NFTs and some of the kind of next level concepts, I would say. So we had the idea of like, what does burning mean? So trying to equate that to like killing a zombie in the future. Like if you were to kill your zombie, what does that mean? What would you get in return? To try to introduce the concept of burning an NFT. So I think thematically we're in love with the fact that there's a lot of flexibility between the locations and also just like what we can do for educating people.
Got it. So you started in many ways with the mechanic first, saying what would be a good experience and thinking about this idea of locations and game theory. And then that led to the idea, oh, a zombie is something that I could build a storyline around, where this makes sense.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because usually you think about it the other way around. People are like, oh, they thought I want to do this thing, and then like, oh, what could I have that thing do, right?
Yeah.
and how it,
Yeah.
so that sounds to me like the right origin, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at avatar pictures, and our thinking was like, how do we take this another level? Obviously, there's utility of just like airdrops in general for people with projects, but we were trying to tell a story, develop an IP, but also again that game theory element. You're right, the utility came first of like, how do we, make these locations be something that adds to the zombie. We were even toying around with like, how do we, what cool things can we do with the background, since a lot of backgrounds are solid colors. So maybe they're tied to a certain location and they represent that location. So these are all things some of them have evolved in terms of concepts, but we're still keeping a lot of those ideas in the back of our head and trying to see how we can develop them further in the long run.
Okay, so let's just go and explore the mechanics a little bit more then. So you have this idea of locations, and then you have to make decisions. You're inspired maybe by punk comics, which sounds like, well, that can go very far, but like there's an initial decision that people have to make, which is important. So that makes sense. But how far out does this play out? Because I can see like saying, oh, I can do this through 1, 2, 3 steps, right? But have you thought about this like over the next year and a half, what's going to happen? Or are you just assuming that a lot of this is going to emerge organically?
Yeah, no, we've thought, look, we want to start with something simple because overall, I think game theory can be kind of an very overwhelming thing. Punk's Comics was definitely early, but they didn't sell out for like weeks with their project. People didn't quite understand what they were going for. It was a different time back then, but still, like, initially people thought it was just a comic book NFT, but obviously it was more than that. So we want to start off with something simple. So it's really just like location A, location B, the casino or the school. The casino gives a really aggressive, it caters to a more engaged audience and more aggressive, wanting to go into Discord every day, while the school is more an investment in the future, and it's a bit more of a passive experience. But the long-term vision is that we start adding other locations and we're building up a world where there's an optionality for people. So a big theme over the past 2 weeks has been kind of tokenomics and just kind of the passive income return. So we don't have that at the very beginning, but a long-term thing would be, why don't we develop a mall where there's a bit of an economy and there's something there? Or, I work at ESPN in my real job full time. So I work with a lot of kind of sports brands and entities, but what if we opened up a football stadium or a basketball court one day, and like maybe there's an outside someone in the real world and a sponsor in the real world that wants to come in and do something and offer prizes in that location. So the idea is that there's, multiple locations that emerge. They all offer different perks and different sort of interactions. And then even thinking beyond that, a lot of people are paying attention to what's going on, in the metaverse. We're kind of playing it a little bit slow in the fact that we just want to evaluate each of the different platforms, because there's obviously Sandbox and then there's Decentraland and the crypto voxels. We want to strategically pick where we want to be on that front, but that's obviously a great platform for us to merge locations because they're physical things in the virtual world. So there's a lot of room there. So I think we're building towards the metaverse with our project, but it's going to come piece by piece with different locations emerging as we grow.
Got it. Well, and Sandbox is already welcoming zombies, so you'll be right at home there.
Yeah.
So the mechanics or the mechanism here, then, it seemed like you can go to the casino frequently, but you can only go to the school once in a period of time, or how does that work?
So essentially,
is this part of the decision? Like, how much information do you give to people?
We've been trying to educate people on what this is, but we just finished we just launched in terms of the minting, and we just revealed the art today, as I don't know when the video releases, but right. So we're in the very early stages of our project, but we have been at least saying a few of these elements out to telling the community a little bit about these elements. But essentially what will happen is, through a web experience, you would connect your wallet, it would read what you have, and then it would present you with the choices of what you should do. If you were to choose a casino, you would be granted access to a private Discord server where we're running casino games within them, like simple blackjack or roulette. And essentially what happens is you would earn virtual points, and every week there would be prizes to be claimed for that. That's probably the most simple way, but long term, we think of weekly poker tournaments. We think of possibly even creating something in Decentraland where it's a casino where you can go every day. So there's a bit more active engagement with that. The school, you would go there, and then the prizes would be different. We're thinking of this more towards the DAO perspective, where it's an investment into the future. There's kind of education, like we were thinking like biweekly AMAs with top minds in the NFT space as kind of like an educational perk. So there are a few different ideas, and they're all, we want to try to make them pretty thematic. But once you pick your location, the zombie is assigned to that location. That there's essentially a bond to that location. Your metadata will have an additional trait that says like this is a zombie associated with the school. There's also an on-chain change as well, or addition, so that basically that NFT in its lifespan, you could see all the locations that it's been to, because we'll make that update.
So it's like a
Also
POAP
like
for your NFT.
yeah, like what we're called, yeah, kind of like a passport, I would say. Like, you know, if you jump into this 6 months later, you can buy an NFT and you can look at it and see like, oh, it's been to these 2 locations. But also when you're buying it, you would also see where it currently is. So in some ways, it almost serves as like a unique, makes the zombie even more unique. It adds an additional trait, and it'll be interesting to see like how many school zombies there are versus casino ones versus ones that are just holding for the future. So yeah, we love all these dynamics, and like, to be honest, we're calling it a bit of a social experiment because we don't really know how it'll play out. Actually, like, we'll present the community A and B ideas, but like it might skew one way or the other, and that's all the kind of in the beauty of this, is to see how people will react to everything.
Yeah, no, that's really fascinating. So, what I should do is you just talked about the reveal. I have one thing here. We'll show people about the art, and I do want to talk about the art for a couple minutes. I don't know if this was, I think, that might have been a reveal image that you guys created. So I'm not sure if that's an actual NFT out there in the world right now, but it's representative, correct?
Yeah, I think we have that one. I think it might just be a different background color in the final one, but yeah, that Medusa hair, MJ Thriller jacket. Yeah, we love our artist. Actually, does a lot of work for Disney, so she created character design and toy design as well. So a lot of wacky ideas have emerged. People are starting to uncover that today when we reveal the art. So we like it. It makes it was, for us, the art, we didn't want to skew too horrific, because obviously you could do that with gore and zombie theme. We also didn't want to go overly cute, like like the game Plants vs Zombies, or just like really basic kind of art. So we try to hit a kind of middle ground where it's like cute, but also a little bit a step above kind of the really kiddie ones, I would say.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's really interesting. So do you want to talk a little bit about the roadmap before we sort of talk about like running
Yeah.
the project?
Yeah, there's that one graphic that I'd love to just share,
Okay.
which is a visual. Yeah, here it is. It's a visualization of what we were trying to go for in terms of the choices. Obviously, it looks kind of busy, but you just follow the road. Essentially, on the bottom there, you would acquire an NFT. From there, we would airdrop a key card. This gives you the ability to search. So you'll see in the middle of the screen there's 3 paths there. The middle one takes you on those eyeballs, essentially will take you on the path of using your key card and searching. But you also have the option of holding for something in the future. That would be just kind of waiting for a 3rd or 4th location, and also possibly other utility for holding. Or you could just sell it if you're just kind of in it for the quick flip and you just want to make back essentially like a dividend. You could always sell it to someone who wants to search. But the most exciting one would be that middle path where you get to search. Before you go pick your location, there is an element of how many zombies to send, and that would affect the probability of certain rewards that you would achieve. But quite simply, after that, it's just an A or B decision, which location best suits you, how many zombies you want to send. So while this looks busy, it's really just 3 key choices, right? Do you want to search? How many zombies do you want to commit to the search? And which location? There's only 3 choices at the very beginning. Obviously, this would expand and grow as we add more locations, but I think there are 3 decisions. They're quick, but at the same time, you probably would. We expect people to take their time to think about what they want to do. So The web experience will be just a few clicks. It will immerse you in a little bit of a story, but it's really just a few clicks on the site. But people will definitely take the time to debate on what is best for them and evaluate what's best for them, where they can get the most value.
So you mentioned this idea of sending more than one zombie. So, and that I assume that's related to how many zombies you have in your wallet when you're playing,
Right.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so if let's say I have 5 zombies, I can send anywhere from 1 to 5 on a path.
Yes. And then if you sent more, essentially you would have a greater chance at either guaranteed rewards, or the probability of some of the things that you would get would all increase as well. So we haven't announced the specific details of what's
Sure.
in each of them, but for the casino, for example, or let's start with the school. For the school, for example, maybe if you send 2, you're guaranteed at least one of our special collaborations that we have, which is an art piece with a Marvel DC professional comic artist. But if you maybe sent 1, maybe you only had like a 50% chance of getting that in your role, as we would call it. Or maybe when you commit 3, you're guaranteed the Dow token or something. So we're playing around with the numbers, and we actually brought on a really a bright individual who also part of the Bored Ape community. She majored in she basically works in a lot of like strategy and statistics. She used to work for the Cleveland Browns. On their strategy side and numbers side. So she's helping us craft some of the numbers and probability and like how we should stock these locations. So we're excited. I think we have a strong team behind this project. And I think we'll make the decisions really interesting. That's the thing we're working through right now as we speak, is just making every decision not easy, not clear cut, because we want it to be balanced. We want there to be like, okay, if I do this, this means that, and what does this mean? We want people to think.
Got it. Yeah. And so if you're listening to this afterwards and you're not seeing the visual, essentially it's a map. Very similar if you're familiar with Bored Ape Club's Gen 2 roadmap or Roadmap 2. And it's this idea of it's an illustration. And in this case, it shows you 3 paths, as Ray mentioned, and you get to choose one. And that's essentially how it plays out. It's in many ways, it's like choose your own adventure with 1 step, right? At this point. Now it could be you could do, if I had 3 apes, excuse me, 3 zombies, I could send 1 to each path, correct?
You could, and we are thinking about how that also works, because, but it's obviously we wouldn't restrict that. You could go to both, but I think, and that's what we're thinking through is how does increasing the number benefit certain. So we'll want to probably make it so that like I could split them up, but like I have a really good chance if I send both of them here to get something, right? So again, we're thinking through all those. I wouldn't say minor; they're kind of key things for us, but we're thinking through those things which might feel a bit minor, but they're important.
Got it. And this is the first chapter, essentially, of the experience. So should we expect, after people go through this, whatever period of time it is, that there's another map like this with another set of choices?
Yeah, I wouldn't say another map. We'll probably we'll make a new visual, but I think the expansion opportunity is just more locations. So
You would
I
take this
mentioned,
map and it would get longer, or more
yeah,
complex.
it would get bigger, and I think I've also been inspired by just my interest in board games in the past. So I think someone pointed it out, and I didn't realize that I've been influenced by board games. But in general, I think besides locations, there are a lot of other things we could toy around with, in terms of how the world changes and evolves to some extent. So what happens if a new type of character gets introduced, and what do they do? Or what happens if a location changes to some degree or just gets destroyed? Like that, I love this project because of just the flexibility in the long run of what we can do and how we can switch things up.
Yeah, perfect. So you're talking about game theory. Did you study economics?
I did not. I studied sports management, so I work, so a lot of kind of sports and marketing.
I got it. But not the academic side of game theory.
Yes. No.
Yeah, I got it.
I,
Go ahead.
I know, I was just gonna say, I think it's just a lot of just being in the NFT space, absorbing a lot of the projects that I've been across. Um, I feel like I've touched a lot of, I don't even know how many 50 plus projects that I've been experiencing over the past few months. So I'm just taking a lot of learnings from all the best things I like about NFTs and trying to apply it to this, and also put our own spin to it, of course.
How did you first get introduced to NFTs?
Top Shot was the one that brought me in. Spent some time with that for a few months. And then I'd say I got really interested in the Bored Ape Kennel Club when they announced that, the fact that they were donating to charities and animal shelters around the world. That was interesting to me, like that sort of effort for charity. So I decided to jump in there before the reveal. At a minimum, I said, okay, at least it's going to charity, some of this money. So,
Sure.
but the whole experience was fun because woke up one morning and then the dog got revealed, and it was it had a special skin, and I just saw the such a positive energy around that Discord, people posting it. So that instantly hooked me in. And then I obviously paid attention to what Bored Apes were doing. After I owned a dog, I already had a step in that community, a foot through the door in that community. After I think maybe 2 weeks or a week and a half, it was my birthday, and I painstakingly debated for a while, and then I bought in, and bought my second one like a week later as well, but then sold that because it's paper handed, that one, but still I'm holding on to one. And overall, the community of the Bored Apes is really strong. Obviously, we've connected through that. I would argue it's one of possibly the strongest. That's how I kind of got in, and from there, just other products really hooked me. And I really like the entrepreneurial aspect of the team behind things and what they're trying to build. You're evaluating their roadmap. All of these things are interesting to me as just kind of a person who's always looking forward thinking in terms of the business world.
Yeah, absolutely. So you started with Bored Ape. You got your first dog. Was it July?
End of June, I would say. Yeah.
End of June, and then you got your first ape, and shortly after that. So when did you decide to do this game or your own NFT project? Was it before that, or is it after it?
I think very quickly, I was thinking about what we can do, just because the nature of NFTs is very entrepreneurial. If you have an idea, there's a way to expand it. The ideas were brewing, I would say, and then they started to solidify a little bit. But still, I think the thing that really pulled the trigger for me was I actually flew to New York, where I'm from, and landed. And on that day, coincidentally, there was a Bored Ape New York meetup. So I went there. It was in Central Park, and it was just a collection of, I want to say, like 30 to 50 people at any given time, or yeah, maybe 30 to 40 people at any given time. And it was just a wide mix of people and fans. And some people were just interested in, they were just Bored Ape holders and they were just fans, and others were doing things in the space. And the energy of that afternoon really sparked excitement for me. Maybe it was just because we've all been staying home for so long, and it was finally like one of the first meetups I had. But there was just a lot of energy about crypto and NFTs, and like some people had established projects, other people were just thinking about things, a wide range. And after I walked away from that meeting, my co-founder and I messaged him, was like, let's make this happen. Like, it's such a positive vibe right now. We don't want to miss, we don't want to not do something and regret it later, I would say. So from then on, we moved very quickly, because we already had some ideas brewing. So we just kind of actioned our plan from that point on, and moved quickly from there.
Got it. So when was this meeting? When was your trip to New York?
I want to say it was in August, mid-August.
Mid-August. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
So we'll give you mid-August. So you had already been thinking about this for a month, maybe at that point, 2 months?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
About a month. And so it's mid-August. So what do you do first? You and your co-founder say, yeah, let's do it. What's your first thing that you do?
I think it starts with the art. So I had already been talking to a few artists just in general, just to get a temperature check. And yeah, we start with the art, trying to find that artist and solidify. So I went through a few more conversations with various people through various connections, or even just cold outreach on the internet, and landed on someone Yeah, kind of through work, I asked a colleague and uh, for him to recommend um, some folks that might be interested. So landed on Sarah. Who she bought into the project and she was interested. So from there, we were developing kind of concept art because all of that can happen while we're still thinking about the game theory in the background. But
Right.
like the art itself and the creation of the smart contract were all things that had to be done. So my partner works in tech, so he was looking into building out the smart contracts and everything from a generative art standpoint. So he was able to get started on that. So yeah, it was very, I would say, tactical at that point. I think the game theory continues to evolve in the background while we're doing all those things, but it was really actioning all those things that must happen for an NFT project.
Right. Okay. So it sounds like you basically had three work streams. You had the game, you had the tech, and then you had the art.
Yep.
Got it. And so, well, let's start with the art. So, did you go through just like, a number of drafts and sort of, as a team agree on that? Did you just turn that over to the artist and let her put her vision on it? How did that proceed?
I think it was yeah, we kind of shortlisted the few artists that we had, and then we just asked them, "Can you do just a sketch of what your zombie will look like?" And one came back a bit just too realistic and too horror
Yeah.
focused. And he was saying that he was already working on a separate project that not NFT but just in general for his other job, and it was a very realistic build for his work. So it didn't quite mesh, flipping back and forth. But when we saw this first sketch from Sarah, we were like, okay, this is definitely a style we can get connected with. It's not too childish yet; it's not too horrific. From that on, at that point on, I was just talking about the traits and having her build that out. So that was it was a smoother process than I thought it would be actually. And I guess for us, we didn't start with an artist on our team. Some projects start with like there's already an artist and you just want to get that art out. We had to, we started with the tech and utility and we had to find the artist. So we're happy with who we landed with, and she's really interested in the project overall. So that's been great.
Yeah, that's super. Okay, so another work stream would be promotion, marketing and promotion. What did you do on that front?
Yeah, I think one of the core things that I've been responsible with, and I think it's been a learning. And to be honest, at the time of this recording, we're not sold out from the mint. We're still going through the mint process, and from a marketing standpoint, it's been really interesting on just to see how the community reacts to things and what they respond to. We went out there with Discord promotion, Twitter promotion, reaching out to influencers, getting a few of them on board as well. We've done a mix of things. We also brought in an advisor. Our advisor is the head of another project called Uninterested Unicorns, which also he's based in Singapore with me here. So he was able to provide a boost as well and get the word out. So we did a number of different things. We were on even Reddit, which is probably not the first platform you think of for NFTs immediately. So we were definitely going out there with a lot of different things. But I think it's been interesting to think through like what's been working, what hasn't been working. I would say like we feel like we've done all the kind of right things of how we've approached this project. But yeah, I think there's still some question marks on marketing overall, and how you get the word out for projects, because I feel like we have a strong one, but it hasn't connected, or I would say like just having Twitter, Discord, and even some influence is probably not even enough in this stage with how much saturation there is. So we're still trying to work through all that. It's been really interesting.
Yeah. I have a feeling. So first of all, I think you have a really great concept. You have really good art. And so I have a feeling that if it had been 4 weeks earlier, it it, it would have been easy. Right.
Mm.
And it's just, when was it, last week? What was the day of your initial mint?
The 22nd, 20, yeah,
22nd. Right.
yeah,
Okay. So
22nd, exactly a week ago. Yeah.
yeah, and that's a week when several projects that had been sort of in development for a while, sort of known by certainly a significant number of people, didn't mint out. And it's not, it's clear to me why they didn't. I'm not sure there's too many that actually did mint out completely. I'm sure there were some. I'll have to look back at the numbers. But we had an ETH pump, and so some people were conserving their ETHs. In fact, we had a big floor sell-off last week as well. So you could tell people were trying to free up Ether to get that bull run, at least that they thought was coming.
Yeah.
You're listening to Raoul Paul, think it's going to hit 10,000 or something by the end of the year, or maybe he said 20,000. I think he said 20.
You never know.
Which would be great. I would love it to hit 20,000. So I think that was really interesting, and I think that you're right. Nobody really knows how to market these right now, and there is no formula.
Yeah, it's really, again, it's been really interesting. I mean, I've been even in part of certain chats about like in the background, just of like what people are trying to do to pump projects. I'm not involved in them, but like I see that like there is some things where how do we generate buzz and just like get a whale to buy this, and like if you get one or two key people whaling in, that can swing things. Or if you just I think that's probably the one thing we were probably missing, is we didn't have like a big whale jump in, but at the same time, not every project has that too. So, but yeah, it's there's a few things that are going on, I think, from the space of how projects sell, and how things move. And ultimately, you just want people will buy in if they feel like they can flip it, because 90% of people are into projects for positive revenue. It might just be a flip short term. It might also just be, when I say flip, I just mean like they want to make money. It could be like a 6-month thing, a 3-month thing, but they want to know that there's interest and things. So in some ways, it's a bit of a snowball effect, I would say. And as I would say, like if a project is sold 80%, you're basically sold out, because people will buy in at the very end because they know they're about to miss the boat. So we have some work to do to get us to higher mint numbers, but I think for us, it's educating people. I think. Like I mentioned earlier, Punk's Comics didn't sell out for a month, different times then, but it's communicating the benefits of the utility. I think we need to do a bit more of that. And hopefully that causes some whales to buy in, and that'll spark the market. So I think it'll all happen overnight. Some like NFT space really goes at blazing speed.
Yes.
So it might feel like it's slow, but like all this can change within one night, or just a couple of people being interested. So
I think
that
happened to MoonCats, right? So MoonCats was like, it started in 17, and they didn't mint out initially, and then I think there was 25,000, and I think all of 2020, I believe they only minted 3 or 5, right? And so there's the 2017, the 2018 cohort, there's a 2019. They just left it open. They had 3 last year, and then over like a weekend this spring, all the rest of them were gone. They were all adopted. And so it's just a matter of, it caught someone's attention, and then people started doing it, and then it's gone.
Yeah, I'd say who's buying is probably a really key factor of things. Yeah, we'll see what we can do overall. We've just revealed the art, but just in the space as a whole, I think there's so many different ways for projects to get to become successful, and sometimes it's not part of the plan overall. Sometimes you just kind of hit something, or you get lucky. We're not going to try to bank on luck. We're still going to work hard to build our project, but yeah, it can happen overnight, I'd say.
Yeah. So, and I like this too. I mean, so you sold out, what, 15% or so of your initial mint?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, 15, maybe 20. I have to do the math.
Yeah. Okay. But so, you sold a significant number, right? So over 1,000, right?
Yeah.
But you have a lot left, a lot more left. But you're not giving up on it, which I think is awesome. Like, because you believe in the mission more than the pump.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's projects that are obvious pump and dumps, and other projects with different intentions, I would say. But we mean well with what we're trying to do. I am a lover of the NFT space. I appreciate all the things that I've experienced and all the things I've learned. I want to contribute to the space and be one of the elements that can move the space forward. So we're not anonymous. We're putting who we are out there, and our initial minutes enough to get us started on building out what we want to do. So obviously we're hoping for more to kind of accelerate things, but we're still able to start on kind of the next phase of what we want to build out, and we have good intentions. So I think we're not. We're approaching it the right way. I feel overall, like we committed to what we wanted to, what the project is. We built a strong, a smaller but strong community right now, and we're gonna take them far overall, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I think too that you have people in the project right now that want to be in the project, right? They're not there just to flip.
Yeah, it's right now, like there's barely any being sold underneath the floor price of. There's like just 4 or 5 right now in the time of this recording that are below the zero point 0.06 ETH, which is what it costs to mint, and that's just people who may have gotten a common zombie and
Right.
are looking for more than that. But no, we have a lot of holders, and that's testament to what we built. The people who are in truly believe, which is how I know the barometer for us knowing that we're doing something right there. So it's all about just right now expanding that out. And I think to your point, we've been unlucky with the timing. The ETH bull run happened. Actually today, over the last 2 days, before reveal and the day of our reveal, gas prices have been pretty really high.
Yes.
They've basically been doubling or tripling the cost of buying into our project right now. So I think we've been unlucky, but the chips fall where they may, and we'll keep working.
Yeah, I get that. So what are you going to do? So I think you're heading shortly to New York City.
Yeah, just a short 18-hour flight, but heading to New York. But yeah, no, there's that trip. I think there's a lot of NFT events happening, NFT NYC plus the Apefest. There's people I've already met in the space in real life. There's people I've met on the internet over the past 2 months working on this project. So it's to solidify some of the relationships, meet them in person, put a face to the name, or also develop new ones. If I got a lot out of that one Bored Ape meetup in one afternoon, so I'm excited to see what 1 week of interacting with people in the NFT space will yield. But overall, it's to learn, it's to make connections, hopefully to also do some light chilling and let people know about our project. But overall, I think it's just hopefully going to be a positive experience as I and the team immerse ourselves deeper into the project. Luckily, a couple of our team members are in New York already, so it's also to meet them. One of our devs I haven't even met in person, so I'm really looking forward to the trip in this upcoming week.
Yeah. So are you actually going to the conference, or are you just going to go to the Apefest events?
Because I kind of committed just a little too late, I don't have a conference ticket, but there's a lot of satellite events, it looks like. And also, I will try to get into the conference. I'm not sure what the secondary sales market is. I think people have said it's surprising that NFT and NYC didn't make their ticket in an actual NFT. That would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I can go and buy a ticket, or on a secondary market, but maybe next year.
Yeah, I would think next year would be the case. Although I don't know that there'll be quite as much froth next year. This seems
see.
like ground zero for it.
Yeah, well, we're obviously this is a trend that we all believe in.
Yes.
The digitization of things and a verification of things in the digital world. It's obviously a trend that will keep getting stronger. So we'll see.
Got it. Okay, so I love this story. I'm really excited to track this. So we're going to do this over time, and what I'll probably do is ask you to come back, maybe a month or so, and see how it goes. Maybe after you reveal the first step of the game and see how that's going. Maybe we can share some ideas. And I have a feeling
Definitely.
in a couple of weeks you're going to be sold out. So people who are watching, you should go over to, where should they go to mint?
Nicefunzombies.io. Pretty simple.
Yeah. And so let me just ask you, because you're a collector, so you have an ape. You did Top Shot in the past. What else are you collecting these days? Are you just focused on being a creator right now, or are there projects out there that interest you?
I'd say the past month I've been kind of almost blinders on, just laser focused on the project. But I do try to keep a temperature check on things, and like I said, I love what Punks Comics is doing. I think their kind of game theory is really next level, and I think it probably actually confuses some people with the complexity. So hopefully we're coming in a little bit as easier step. But in general, I love what they do and what they're trying to build overall. And every time you listen to their town halls, just really smart guys who are approaching the space. The Bored Ape community is super strong. Really happy to be a part of that, and looking forward to the next week with their in real life events. Other projects beyond that, I would shout out to the unicorns. We brought in that advisor, not just because he launched the project, but they have some really interesting kind of tokenomic dynamics and staking involved. So I'm keeping an eye. I own a few unicorns, and I keep an eye on how that project is progressing. But yeah, it's always great to hop onto Twitter and just see what's trending and what's growing. I think Top Shot continues to do a pretty decent job of growing the base with the new season. So yeah, I think I haven't listed any kind of the newer projects, and it's probably for a reason, since I have been more focused on mine. But some of the ones from a few months ago are still going strong, and they continue to evolve and adapt. And that's kind of the beauty of all of these. Like, they offer every month or two, there's something new to talk about with these projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I look forward to talking about my own project when we announce that coming up very shortly.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Ray, thank you so much. Everyone go to nicefunzombies.io, do your mint, do your research. And I really like this. I think it's a differentiated project, and I think people are going to like the art and the vibe. It's just a good vibe. And obviously you guys have good founding team. So looks like it's one for the long term.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, C-Rex. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Okay, Neftorious Nation, thank you so much for coming out today and hearing another founder story. Look forward to having Ray back and talking to him a little bit more about how things are going. And definitely like and subscribe. I almost forgot to say that. Like and subscribe to the Neftorious Show. Check us out. You can also go to neftorious.com and you'll get a click through to our Discord. And I think you'll find some interesting things there. If you want to get in before we announce what we're doing with our project, that might be to your advantage. All right. I'm Creatorius Rex. I hope to see you next week. And until then, happy hunting.